so the neighbours are also having a good time. But in the meantime, just quickly to highlight that I have up here a dentist's light, which a friend down south got for me once out of a skip. If you price them up, they are quite expensive. That's really good for putting light into small spaces under the engine hood or in the engine bay, etc. I've used it a few times at night, especially in winter, when obviously we have it getting dark here at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There are more LED strip lights on the one side. I only fitted them on one side because I didn't need them anywhere else. And the idea is today to possibly mount that big 200-watt spotlight in here, and then just run a wire into my woodwork shed, which, as I said, there's a lathe and a bandsaw and all sorts of other machines in there that I don't use as often at the moment, simply because the cars and mechanical metal work type stuff has taken over a bit. But I'll get back to woodwork. It sort of comes and goes as I need it. So the idea would be to run just a plug into a wall socket there, and then once the wall socket's in, I'll fit a switch probably on the outside somewhere, either there or down this side, somewhere inside of my compressor room, or just on the side there. I've got some waterproof external sockets. So yeah, that's it. Let's move some stuff around and then we can get going. So, welcome to another episode of Grizzmakes. I'm just looking at where the camera hits. It's probably going to cut me through the middle of my face. If it's in picture, then it's great. Saturday morning, what can I say? Weather is absolutely magnificent. Perfect day to be out on the beach. If you've got a beach close by, or to be working in a garden, I guess, with a big sun hat on. I tend to not wear hats very often. Anyway, I have a couple of small plans for the Canta today, but I also have some other jobs to do, including mounting a very large, I think it's called 200-watt spotlight LED, 200-watt LED spotlight. Apparently they light up like hell. So that'll go under the carport, where I have some LED strip lights, and I have a dentist's examination light, which is used for going down into sort of spaces. But I think that this, especially in winter when it gets dark at 3:30 in the afternoon, will probably make a big difference. Other than that, we'll see what the Canta brings. I want to clean up the inside of the dash, and also the front mounts where the headlights are mounted, because they're a little bit wonky at the moment from when the engine mount was broken and the way everything distorted and basically self-destructed. So if I can get those mounts straightened, that means the headlights are straightened, which means that the hood or bonnet closes squarely, because at the moment it actually lies out by probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So anything up to about 50 millimeters, it's offset to the one side. I'm hoping that I can get all of that done today. It's not a lot of work, but it's little things, and sort of even just wiring up this thing is going to take a bit of time, because I've got to figure out where to mount it, and then drawing current will probably come on a 3-point plug, just very simplistically plugged, because this actually does have an earth, so I may as well earth it while I'm at it. And then putting the plug in my woodwork shed, which most people don't know exists, but it's there. It's sort of hidden in the bushes. And just run a waterproof socket on the outside, where I can then switch it on and off, probably just with a simple flick switch. That way I can turn it on when I need to, and also have access to it, because there's no use putting the switch inside the garage when you need it on the outside. So there we go. Quick picture of the plan of action. In fact, maybe better off just moving the Jeep out the way first, and once the Jeep's out the way, I can take a slightly better look and also move the Canta out the way. That way I can work. just tell you, every time I start that thing, it makes me smile. The fact that it was put together out of rubbish and scrap and bits and pieces to get it to a running, driving, licensed and insured car is a nice buzz. And it's good fun driving it out in the summer this time of the year. To be honest, I'd rather be going driving today, but we've got stuff to do. Get the Canta out of the way so that I can have some space to work. So, right, late afternoon, taking the dog for a walk. There was an interesting surprise. Look for a photograph stuck in somewhere into the video. You might see what we saw pass us by while we were walking the dog. One of the jobs I got done this afternoon was to replace the door retaining straps. They actually were broken, and if you remember, that's what they looked like before. Quite thin and probably not such durable rubber. But then saying that, the car's 20 years old, more than 20 years. And what I did was I replaced it with some webbing that I actually had bought previously to wrap the roll bar on the resin rocket Jeep. So now the hole's drilled out, folded double. I used a bit of welding wire to burn the holes through before I came to here. And likewise on the inside, probably a flat head rivet would have been a slightly better option, but this is good enough. And the same on the other side. I think if anything it's an improvement on not having anything. So the next job this afternoon, to be honest, is to try and straighten out this little mess, which isn't a big mess, but it's significantly, if you look at the offset of the bonnet, it's not right. So historically, when the engine mount originally was broken, somehow it would have put energy through. There are a pair of braces that go up to support the headlights as well as the hood. So this one on the left, driver's side right if you want, is actually quite bent. I'm going to try a very simple trick. If it works, I'll be very pleased. If it doesn't work, we're on to plan B, C, D, E, and possibly a bigger hammer. Anyway, the idea is to use some old trucking webbing, tie down strap. See if I literally just hook it around. Let's open this up. If I hook it around here on this section, you can see this one is much higher than this one, and just put some force to it and basically pull it upward. I might be able to straighten it out without breaking anything. If that's the case, then that will obviously be raised, which will then push the hood over to the right and put everything in alignment again. You can get it in alignment now by forcing it, putting the hood latch into its mounting hole, but I'm really not wanting to do that. I don't particularly care for this very malaligned look, so let's see what happens when I use a bit of strapping. Cool, let's see where we get with this. Right, on with the show. Let's see if this works. If it doesn't work, plan B, which might have been plan A. I'll see if I can get this hooked in. It's very carefully. There's actually a loop at the end of this. Don't think that's going to work. Do not think that's going to work. Let's see what exactly we are competing with. Tell you what, let's see, it's only me and a weld, but I think plan B should have been plan A, and that is using a jack and a lever just to gently push this up back into position. I will leave this strapping over it in order to stop whatever I use to push up from slipping off the metal. This might work. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Matter of simple leverage. Or is that leverage? Just find something long enough. Now, if ever there was redneck engineering, this might be it. I might regret it, I might not regret it, using the hammer as a lever. I guess what I should really do is bring the camera down here and film this from this angle. Let's do that. Right, we're on the floor. Let's see how primitive we can be. Simple idea really. Use the jack, use the hammer handle, rise it up. Put it in position and just push. Make sure this is out the way. So that's not working. To just reset that slightly so it grips. Something went click. I'm not sure if I've broken something or not. Hopefully not. This side is actually slightly higher now, so hopefully with a bit of tension it'll come back when I drop it. To be honest, if this stays as it is, we could be onto a good thing. Right, let's show you this first. My primitive camera work. Let's see. If anything, when you look at this now, the angles are straight. Everything is together. And that's because I've used the hammer, or the hammer handle I should say, down there, to get me leverage upward and to push that little rod that comes down here up. Hopefully there's not too much dynamic tension in there. I think that's the right word for it. And if I let the jack go down, this will hopefully stay where it is. Fingers crossed. Right, let's see what happens. I'm going to undo this. I still need to make a releasing tool, because this jack came out of a skip or a dumpster, and like so many tools, they actually work perfectly fine for the purpose that you want them to work. Well, there you go. Hammer's out the way. Let's see what we've got. We have a hood. We have a load of webbing strapping just to remove. Once I take that off, let's see where we go. Funny how it will get stuck, won't it? Just when you don't need it to get stuck. One hand doesn't help. Right. Goodness. Alright. Right, let's see. Shut this. Hood shut. The alignment, I would say, is a lot better. And if you look from this side, it now shuts properly, as it should. Another small win. Small win. A little bit of leverage. I think lots of people will be grinning about this. I certainly am. I think for the moment, I'll also say that I have a few other jobs to do, but these are house jobs, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I do some more work. One more thing I'm going to do quickly before I shut shop is to take petrol and clean out that dash, the underside where all the duct tape, glue and residue. Terrible camera today, where all this residue from duct tape is stuck. It's quite a mess. So that's one job I'll do quickly now, and that should be the end of my day. It's a good day today, and I decided that, you know what, do what I can and then pull the plug. Anyway, thanks for joining. Where do we start? Click the like if you liked anything you saw. Obviously make comments. I think small little jobs today, but again, progressing in the right direction. These small jobs are all there to just try and get this thing back to some kind of standard where you want to deal with this car, or you want to drive it, or somebody might want to own it. I look at little things like this. The foam on the hand controls. That's a mess. So if you replace that immediately, it just makes the car look a lot better. If you painted all of this, it looks better. If you replace it with a more modern system, it looks better. If I can get a pair of foot pedals, a brake and an accelerator down the bottom here, guess what? Better. But hand controls are fun as well, so it might actually just stay on hand controls. So there you go. Thanks for joining. Have a good afternoon and see you next time.